Giddy up, at dawn we ride. It's a beautiful Dumaguete day. We're gonna talk about getting our visa extended, then we're gonna go do a driver's license conversion, and then after that, we're gonna go shopping for some new wheels. Oh, that ought to be interesting. So stick around, it might take a turn you're not expecting. This is the immigration office in Dumaguete. Saturday, closed right now, totally dark. So you can only come in and do it on the weekdays. Give you a look around because this is not the easiest place to find. We're at the end of a corridor, a hallway, in the middle of the street. And along this corridor, there are non-government immigration visa offices. So they can help you with the more complex tasks. Your exit clearance certificate. So once you've been staying in the Philippines for 6 months or longer, departure from the country will require background checks, I think. One handy feature of Google Maps is wherever you're at, wherever you're planning on going, you can just type in Bureau of Immigration, pause for a second. It does a pull down where you see locations. Here in Dumaguete, this office is like crazy busy. So not only are they servicing the rest of the province of Negros Oriental, all of those foreigners that are staying longer term, they have to come to this office on the island of Siquijor. People that are staying there longer term, you know, every 2 months when they're doing their renewal or however their program works, they have to come across on a ferry and come to this office. So they are supporting a lot of people. So here's what this looks like from the street. It's kind of hidden. You see, you can just this tiny little Bureau of Immigration sign, but you're gonna go right down there. What's around you? Well, a lot. It's kind of subtle, but you know you're in the right place if you're right next to the bread baker. So right there to the side. And this renewal from being in country 6 months to being in country 8 months cost me 3,680 pesos. Now there is a special additional fee that's levied. Can you see that? Yeah. So remember, if you're doing the express renewal, it costs a lot more than if you do the 2 weeks out renewal. My visa was gonna expire 6 months in country on the 17th of a month, which fell on a Tuesday. And I came in several times because somebody left a comment saying, oh, you can, at this office, you can drop it off 3 weeks before expiration, pick it up at 2 weeks. Well, not the case here for sure. I don't think I'm supposed to be up here. Let's go back out. I even came in like the day before the 2 weeks. Nope, come back tomorrow. So I was able to drop off my passport on the 3rd of a month, 2 weeks prior, which also fell on a Tuesday. And they said, you will come pick all your paperwork up, 3,680 pesos right here on the spot. And then on the 12th, which fell on a Thursday, like 4 working days before expiration of the visa. And every time I had come into this office, all of the other people that were visiting the visa office, they were showing up like on the last day of validity of their visa, totally in a panic. So they're just gonna pay more money. Sure, it's more convenient to do it same day, but this office is very, very busy. People doing it at the last second, I would not advise that because you're forced into that convenience fee. And there's great reason. Watch all my other videos about Dumaguete. Hang out here for a week or 2 while they're processing your visa. The other mistake everybody seems to be making is they show up without enough money, cash in hand, to process the visa. So they've waited in line and then they gotta go find an ATM somewhere. So everybody that's sitting there is like, oh, where's the nearest ATM? And the people in the immigration office, I mean, they're super busy and they're like, oh my gosh, really? Again and again and again? So show up with a minimum of 4,000 pesos, but ideally more than that if you're coming on the last day or 2 of, or you know, within a week of expiration, because you're gonna have to pay the convenience fee most likely. So most people refer to this as Freedom Park. It has a really long name, but Freedom Park. That is the Negros Oriental provincial capital building, the government building, and behind it is a whole complex of government buildings. But there's new construction going on. The roads to and from, they wrap horseshoe around behind it, and the LTO is back in the back. So with all this construction going on, it's meant to be the final product is like a one-stop shop, all in one. When will that be done? Not totally sure. It is February 2026 right now. Google Maps, when I told it to walk me to the LTO, land transportation, it took me on an incorrect wild goose chase through the back streets, back alleys. So you have to sort of like place the office on the map and then just intuitively find your way to it. So, now when I say province, just as an aside, Negros Island has two provinces. Negros Occidental to the northwest, Negros Oriental to the southeast, which is different from when people say we're going out into the province. They're using a colloquial term to just refer to going into a rural, outside of the urban or suburban environment. So two different uses being thrown around. There will be, on work days, today's a Saturday, there will be a security guard posted right at the door. You have to check in with the security guard every time you come here. The very first thing you have to do in conversion is a medical exam. Let's go just down the street here. Now it's all bottled up here on a Saturday. Everything's closed, you can't tell, but on a weekday during normal business hours, it's unmistakable the amount of activity happening here. You got 4, 5, 6 driving school offices and medical clinics with doctors. It cost me 500 pesos, and that exam was like height, weight, blood pressure, colorblind test. They make color copies of your paperwork, such as like your existing driver's license and your country of residency for currency, and then your passport. Color copies of all your documents that get put into that packet was another 14 pesos. So, you know, driver school, medical office, driver school, medical office, on down about half a block. So, you know, is one product significantly better than the other? I don't know, but you're definitely going to want to price shop it. So once you get your medical check done, you take that stack of paperwork with your passport, your existing driver's license, and your ACC card. That's going to be important. And we go back to the blue building for our conversion. Point number one, when they say conversion, they don't take your existing native country driver's license from you. They're just using it to transfer your skills, credentials, etc. They have A code for motorbikes, B code for like passenger automobiles. Non-professional is what all of us are going to be, because professional would be if you're a commercial driver, which you're not allowed to do anyway. ACC card has to be part of that packet. Now, while the rules say that you can get your driver's license conversion from day one, you're legal to drive with your driver's, if it's current, driver's license for vehicles you're rated for the first 90 days you're here. Here's the stick. The ACC card is your alien certificate card, which you can't get until you're 120 days in country. So there's actually like a 30-day gap there where you're technically, you're in gray area. You're not really covered by anything if you're driving. I was only B rated in the United States. I've never been license rated for riding motorbikes, motorcycles. So take the whole packet, check in with the guy, the security guard at the front again, go to the main front counter, counter number 2 here, submit the stack, 785 pesos to apply for the new Filipino driver's license, which it's 2026. Mine's valid until like 2030 or something like. So it's not just a brief thing. It's really, it reaches out far. Just doing the right thing is always going to be cheaper than putting yourself in a situation where you're just taking your chances with fate and luck. 785 pesos, so they gave me a license with my B code, which is to operate a normal car, like that kind of a car or a truck, but not a motorbike. So I'm not done yet. I actually need to get an ad code done on the driver's license. Well, how do we go about this? You got a few different driving schools on the line. If you have never ridden a motorbike before, I would very strongly recommend doing like one of their 2-day driving schools. And I don't know what the price is on that one, but even for just the, like a proficiency evaluation, like is this person safe on the road? Do they know what they're doing? That is its own like in-person checkoff from these schools. So before you do any kind of test, go to YouTube, start watching the tutorial videos on the Carwahe channel. I was shopping the price because I realized this was going to be a multi-step process. And so you got, you know, 5 or 6 of them. I ended up going with Western Visayas Driving Institute. We just got along so well right from the start. Wonderful people. They got a big classroom upstairs. And so you'll pay for the school or just pay for the proficiency exam, and they'll tell you what day they're willing to do it on depending on their academic load of the week. For your ad code on your license, go back down to the medical where you originally got your medical clearance, and they have to do a color reprint for 200 pesos. So we go back to the blue building to fill out an application for our ad code. Before you leave for the day to come in for the morning exams at LTO, fill your packet out. Have that packet ready to hand in when you're going to come in the morning. So you'll come here, get your stack. Now, I made this way harder on myself than it had to be because the security guard had said, come at 8 o'clock in the morning. Come at 8 o'clock in the morning. We only do so many people per day. There's a cutoff. And I came like 2 or 3 separate days not learning my lesson. And it's like, what did I tell you? 8 o'clock in the morning, we're done testing for the day. And I thought, I don't know. I just thought, oh, maybe if it was a light day, they'll let me do it. No, that's not how this works. So have your packet in hand. I got here the day I finally got my exam. I showed up at 7:15 in the morning and almost all of the seats were already full because remember, people are coming from all over Negros Oriental to do their driver's test stuff here. So there's like a crazy amount of activity before the offices even open. So the day I got it right, you have to pay 100 pesos to apply to take your computer screen exam. And that's where watching those Carwahe videos are going to come in handy for you, help you pass the exam. It's a 60-question exam. They say, did you bring your motorcycle? And I say, no, I don't have a motorcycle. You have to then go back to the driving school where you got your first evaluation done, borrow their motorcycle again for their practical examination of your riding competency and safety. So I went back to my driver school, Western Visayas, borrowed the motorcycle, and again, they did not ride on the bike with me, but they had me and watched me, you know, and they had me ride around the entirety of the horseshoe. In both cases, let them see you doing your PMCS, preventative maintenance checks and services. So check that the blinkers work, check that the headlight works, check that the horn works. It just starts everything off on the right tone. At least when the driving school was doing my evaluation, they recorded me also. So you bring it back here, 325 pesos to apply for the ad code on your license. All right. The process took me probably 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks, because I just couldn't get it together. And I just wasn't getting the message about be here, like at dawn we ride, right? That's how this works. The cost, start to finish, 3,424 pesos, all inclusive, and just a lot of time and patience. Now that I've got my license, it's time to go look at some wheels. This is like a tuk-tuk that you'll see all over Southeast Asia. The point that we're trying to get across here is just how spacious, how big these things are. So let's say I have a family and it feels too dangerous or risky to do the motorbike thing. So whether it's, you know, I've got precious cargo on board, I've got my 2 ladies, or I've got, you know, mom and kids or something like that. Average fuel economy is 35 to 40 kilometers per liter, and it's an 8-liter engine on this thing. So that'll get you around the island pretty well, pretty easily. Right. This can go on a roll-on, roll-off boat. The price tag on this is the most expensive model, 242,000 pesos. I will show you the smaller model outside that's a little bit cheaper. There's cargo space in the back also. So if I've got, say for example, we're traveling around the island doing some grocery shopping. Look at this, the seats go down, cargo door. What a great option, huh? You have all kinds of bike options. One frequent question from the foreigners, what's your most powerful bike? And that's going to be this model right here, is 181,000 pesos. So the same concept, but a slightly smaller model that will go for 210,000 pesos. Same sized engine, cheaper, smaller. This is an electric model. So this bad boy will go for just under 100,000 pesos. The difference is on one charge, you can only get 60 kilometers. So it's good for out and back field trips up to Valencia, out to Dauin and back, in and around town. That's a great solution. Just safety considerations for everybody. Foreigners on motorbikes, that's a high risk enterprise.